Hello again. I'm Alexander McCauley. I'm your host for Faces of Truth, and this is Megan. She'll be riding shotgun with me during this particular um, upload. Um, this past winter semester of 2019, I took a class in American foundations from BYU, Idaho. And I found that it was probably one of the biggest sales pitches I have ever heard for the socializing of a free market system in America. Well, this is the thing. All university level courses are going to be sales pitching you on socialism, which is the government interfering with trade, with our ability to do what we do. So I would like the next few uploads, I'd like to take material from an American Foundations program that I absolutely love from National Center for Constitutional Studies and just discuss it with someone in front of you so that we can get what real Americanism is and how the socialist corruptions that are trying to be established will eventually erode our rights entirely. This week we're going to talk about American colonialism and the systems of government. Last time we talked, we talked about the correct political spectrum between total government control and no government control. This time we're going to talk about how our American continent was colonized by three people, three nations. Two of these nations, France and Spain, were people ruled by ruler's law. All power to the king. The king owned everything within his realm, and he could, by whim, tell the people what they could and could not do. That is basically ruler's law.
And that's how Spain and England were?
And that's the way Spain and France were.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
France and Spain were ruler's law. They were monarchies from the inception.
How was England not?
England, its history starts out with the Anglo-Saxons, which were basically, let's just say that where the Bible leaves off with the 10 tribes, or the 10 tribes that fled north after Persia fell, it ends at the Caucasus Mountains. However, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles begin at the Caucasus Mountains when these people crossed the Caucasus, mingled with the native populations of Europe and Western Asia, and became known as I believe they were called Angles, and they mixed with the Saxons. And it was called the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles because of their merge with the native peoples. Their government had aspects of a commonwealth of freemen. Their government literally considered the individual and his family as the sovereign unit of society. They owned property.
I have a question.
It was in I think it was 1692. No, it wasn't 1692. Anyway, there was a period that was the date. Okay. There was a period in British history where a French nobleman by the name of William the Conqueror crossed the Channel and subjugated the Anglo-Saxons and instituted principles of ruler's law.
Mm-hmm.
In the first few years, the British did not like what William was doing. They resisted. Well, years passed. They went through King John. During the time of King John, the nobles confronted him, made him sign the Magna Carta, which he did not enforce at all. Then they had King Charles I, who they decapitated because he was not protecting the rights of the people and the people. So then he was decapitated, and then King Charles I was reinstated after he was brought back into England to rule once again. During the period of time preceding that, the Cromwell and his cronies reigned terror in England, becoming a military dictatorship. So the British brought back in Charles II, whom they confronted to sign the English Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm.
This was to make sure that the Crown would recognize that the people were the owners of the property and had certain inalienable rights. This once again did not work. And they still to this day are trying to get back the rights that William the Conqueror took away from them. The only way that they could regain those rights is to cross the Atlantic and colonize a new land. This is exactly what happened when the British colonized the eastern seaboard of the United States. The French and the French had colonized the South in the Louisiana Territory. The Spanish had colonized everything to the west, and they had basically come to loggerheads with one another, and it left the eastern seaboard open to the British, the Anglo-Saxons, who wanted their rights back. We find that during this time, the conflict between the French and the Spanish left the British colonists free to establish a nation built on the free principles of the Anglo-Saxon Commonwealth, which was given to them from the ancient Israelite system, based on captains of tens, captains of 50s, captains of hundreds, and captains of thousands. That's where we get our towns, counties, states, and then our nation from. All of the executives are literally our commanders-in-chief. Anyway, so we reestablished a free nation because we, back in the homeland of England, were subjugated by our rulers. That's pretty much all the material I'm going to go over for this broadcast. Thank you very much. Okay.
Before the ruler's law came into play,
in Britain,
were the Anglos, were their ancestors from, I can't think of the name of it, Viking descendants? Were they descendants of Vikings?
There were certain tribes that went into, for instance, Norway is supposedly Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
England was colonized by a remnant of Dan, some Jew, and some Ephraim and Manasseh blood runs through the British Isles. France was colonized by Reuben, the tribe of Reuben, and Asher colonized Belgium. All of these nations in Europe, above a certain latitude, were considered barbarian nations because they were free nations. They did not regard their kings as sovereign monarchs, but as those selected from the population to protect the rights of everyone. The Anglo-Saxon word king, or sign, which the word king comes from, is actually a word that means one among equals. And before William the Conqueror invaded, the king was regarded as a friend to the people versus the master of the people. Anyway, if you enjoyed the presentation, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you have any questions, or if I can find the answer, if you've got any questions, please ask them in the comments. I will do my best to give you the accurate answers. Thank you. So long till next week.